Hello and welcome to the Sisters for Fitness Wellness Show. I'm Stephanie Gaines-Bryant. Today we have a guest who's been on with me before, but it's been a couple of years, Dr. Madea Allen.
Yes, it has been.
Now, you were moving in a different direction back then. Back then we had a discussion on nutrition.
Yes.
And now you're dealing with something that is oh so necessary. You're dealing with women over 40 and how a lot of times you're living with a lack of energy. And I want to talk about how that can impact your life in so many ways. But first I want to say welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be back.
So tell me, what exactly is a lack of energy for women in my age group?
Yes, a lack of energy can express itself in many ways. Obviously, there's the physical energy. You've slept all night, you wake up, and you still feel tired. So that is a clear sign that you don't have the energy you require, right? There is the energy of our mental health. So we don't feel like we have the capacity to make decisions or to focus. Our cognition sometimes is compromised. We can't hold a lot of information at once. Then there's the emotional lack of energy, not being able to feel what you feel. Sometimes people feel just numb. There's a lack of feeling. Or you find yourself in one particular emotion like sadness or anxious, not being able to settle and calm. And then there's spiritually not being able to hold energy. So just feeling disconnected from the greater population, being disconnected from yourself, not really having a particular practice that keeps you, really grounded, as well as expanding to something that's bigger than you.
So where does this come from? Because by the time you're 40, you are probably established in your career. You have a family or you don't have a family. You're in a relationship or not. You may be taking care of aging parents. What are some of the causes of this? Is it job? Is it stress?
Yes, so that what you just painted, being possibly a caregiver for aging parents, then having your own children that you're caring for, and having this established career, all of those they demand so much from us. That sounds like the perfect recipe for someone to feel depleted. So while you have this particular lifestyle, it's important to have in place what can pour back into you. You cannot pour water from an empty cup. So how are you pouring back into you as you have so many demands that you're faced with on a day-to-day basis?
How do you know that you're in that place? A lot of times we're experiencing these things and we don't know that we're there. What are some of the signs we should be looking for?
Yeah, so burnout is a phenomenon that was actually created for the workplace initially. So at the workplace, you start to feel kind of resentful of just being there.
Boy, oh my God, I've been there.
Me too, several times. Your performance starts to weaken. You may not be hitting the benchmarks that your team is looking for. You are requiring more coffee or stimulants than necessary to actually focus and stay up. There's signs like you just feel just listless, just lifeless. You're not showing up to your kickboxing class like you usually do. Or it's interesting how when you want to continue to push outward and don't have just the energy to get you there, there's this inner anger. And that anger inward can actually manifest as depression. So there's a disconnect between what your inner experience is and then what you are putting outward, your face that you show up with. And that deep disconnect is what can actually cause depression and make you kind of spiral downward.
A lot of times when you know you're just not feeling right, you start looking for solutions. And you may be looking at things that you say are not good for you. For example, I was reading one of your newsletters and you were talking about you may try different supplements that you think will help, and it may make things worse.
Of course. So people are listening to the commercials. They're, listening to
Yes.
what Susie down in the next cubicle is saying, what helped her with XYZ. So we are doing things that we hear around us that we feel will address. But you haven't actually met with a professional who has given you a proper assessment. That is a first step before you take anything, to get the proper assessment to know that that's the right medicine to take, right? But we have this culture where you can Google anything. That's a double-edged sword, because if you don't know how to really interpret the information that you're getting in the proper way, you can really do damage, actually. So of course we're going to start trying to have more green juices, take more vitamin B, this and that. But again, that's just surface level, but it may not even be the right time to take supplements. Again, you have to work with a professional who can give you an assessment and know how to properly time and deliver the right medicine. You need support in a step-by-step fashion.
I am here to tell you there is so much out there that tells you that there can be a quick solution to all of that. They've got these fake celebrities advertising this, that, and the other thing, whether it's mushrooms, whether it's all kinds of stuff that you can use, pink salt, just different things that you can use, and they may have the face of Oprah who has not really endorsed this thing. And you're thinking, well, if this celebrity says it's good for me, then it has to be. And so what you're doing, you're just feeling around in the dark for things to help you feel better.
Yes, you are. Unfortunately, you are. And it's just not responsible marketing, actually. And I always tell people, I ask, how long did it take for you to have this condition that you're presented with? Did you get burnt out overnight, right? You're in your 40s. You've probably lived a life up until that point to create this expression of dis-ease or disharmony in your body. The body is interesting. It takes time for things to start shifting and bigger signals, right? So burnout can start quietly creeping in by, lack of being able to sleep at night, not having to get up and go in the morning. But then it can actually snowball into a larger health crisis. It can create this nervous system dysregulation, hormones completely out of whack, not being able to regulate the mood, inflammation everywhere in the body, your digestion is affected, right? Your vision, everything just starts, the system is telling you it's time to do something different. So I would say if you start to really get these early warning signs, get help from a professional and be able to share exactly what's going on before it's too late.
What role does nutrition play in this?
Yes, nutrition is a foundational support to help you express and be able to hold the energy that you need. It's one of the pillars that I use in my Organic Soul Shift Energy program. In addition to nourishing the body, it's important to know how to move the body in ways that help to circulate your energy, like move any stagnant energy, and also to bring in fresh energy. Circulation is so key to expressing energy.
So are we talking about exercise?
Yeah, we're talking about exercise, and we're also going deeper into mind-body practices like Qigong, Tai Chi.
Because your background is Chinese medicine.
It is, and so I actually have studied Qigong, and that's a way to help support the body's energetic systems, like the having channels circulate energy properly. So when there's circulation, there's flow, right? And also I have a background in Kundalini Yoga. So that's coming from the Ayurvedic system of medicine, dealing with your chakras and your nadis, your energy centers. Being not well is an opportunity for you to really get deeper into understanding what you are and how your body is made. And it is designed to heal itself, but the proper lifestyle is necessary, the proper education and knowing what to do and when to do, and just staying aware. That awareness is key. So the people who may not know that they're not well, the first step is cultivate your inner observer, your awareness.
So being mindful.
Being mindful. That's why mind-body movement is so key, because it allows you to sink into the body, right, and to really tune in. So many people are tuned out of their inner experience that they're not aware of what's happening. So that's why I absolutely love mind-body connection.
How important is the breath?
Oh, the breath
Mindful
is,
breathing.
Yes, the breath is key. It is key. The breath has the ability to modulate your nervous system, your endocrine system, so that's your mood, your mind. You know, when you are in a state of fight or flight, you're hyperventilating, breathing from the upper part of the body, signaling, you know, we have to get out of here, right? So it's gonna kind of shut down your digestive system to get you going. And imagine being on that energy all day, every day. That's the perfect recipe for inflammation. And we know inflammation is a silent killer.
Indeed it is.
Yeah.
Indeed it is. So what steps do you suggest people take to get to wellness? If
Yeah.
you're what questions do you ask people, your clients, to kind of decide? And I'm sure everybody's different, so you don't use the same plan for everybody.
Right. So the way I work is unique. So the first step is to have an assessment of their energy and their lifestyle. So again, I am going through these deeper layers beyond just your physical body. Of course, I'm asking about sleep. I'm asking about digestion.
How much sleep should you get?
So that's interesting. We all are woefully unique, but however, at least 7 hours, I found for myself, helps me to function properly. When we start getting under that 7, you can start to notice within yourself how it feels, you know, in your mind, in your energy when you get under 7 hours. Start cultivating that inner awareness, and that's going to help you shift in knowing what to do. But at least 7, you know, and then people need more. Some people, they get less and function, but again, I think the 7 to 7.5 is a good
What
mark.
happens, just for people who are curious, what happens when you don't get that rest?
Yes, when you don't get that rest, again, that fight or flight system, that parasympathetic part of our nervous system is activated. You know, it's saying like we're not safe. So it's hard to focus. It's hard to digest food well. It's hard to articulate your thoughts. It's hard to actually go to sleep when the nervous system is just ramped up. So really regulating sleep is key. It's going to help you manage your hormones, manage your nervous system, and have the proper digestive secretions that you need, so your digestion is going to be set when you start to get better sleep. It's going to affect sleep is just where you think about it. When a computer shuts down at night, you know, and it's recharging, then when it's fully at 100%, it's ready to be used again. It's kind of the same idea with our bodies. It allows us to regenerate and rest. Rest is key. Sometimes you just don't have to do anything. It's better to do nothing. And again, allow this system that knows how to repair itself to start to do its job. Sometimes less is actually more.
Let's talk about mental health and how, as women, we have a hard time saying no.
Yeah.
How do you get to the word no, to just help save your own life?
Unfortunately, people get to know out of chaos, out of being at a place where things are upside down, their health is suffering. It's almost like, you know, you're backed into a corner type of no. Like, I cannot sleep, I cannot eat, I cannot function. No. But how you get to that place in a more loving way is to start to value yourself, value your time, value your energy, because a no to others means a yes to you. Again, we're pouring into ourselves. So when you're saying no to others, you're saying yes to more sleep, yes to slowing down to have a nutritious meal, yes, to taking a walk in the park, to breathe fresh air, to listen to your own inner guidance. So no becomes easy framed in that way because you get to take care of you. Healthcare professionals are the hardest people to work with sometimes because we're caregivers. We love people. We are givers. You have to balance the giving and the receiving. The giving and the receiving is key.
Women also tend to feel guilty when we're doing things to take care of ourselves. You feel guilty for leaving to go for that walk or getting that massage. Yeah. How do you stop from feeling guilty for doing what's best for you?
Yeah, the guilt is such an unnecessary emotion in this whole process because it is, again, cutting you off from your time of being with yourself. Being guilty is not of a balanced state of mind when it's time to heal yourself. Guilty for what? Why guilt? Let's unpack that. Who did you see feel guilty for trying to care for themselves? What's your earliest memory of feeling guilty when you actually wanted to do something good for yourself? Oftentimes we have to rewrite these limiting beliefs. We have to forge a new path for ourselves. We haven't had good examples, oftentimes, of caring. We've only seen women give until they drop dead, unfortunately.
And a lot of times, for example, a relative calls and asks you to do something and you say no because you had planned to do this thing for yourself, whether it was go for that walk, whether it was go for that massage. Aunt such and such asked you to take her to the store to do such and such, and you feel guilty for telling that person no, but you really do need. I mean, it should be like having breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That time you use to take care of yourself.
Absolutely.
You need that as much as you need your breakfast.
Yes, and then that's the frame of mind that's important to shift as you're learning how to restore your energy. Understanding that just as your physical hygiene is brushing your teeth, washing your face, some people don't eat 3 meals a day, but having the 3 meals a day is just as important as your walk in the park or that time with yourself or that time to do nothing at all. That restoration period is key for you to show up better for others. You know, the more I can give to myself, guess what? The more I can give to you.
How long would you say it takes to kind of get it together, to restore your energy, to restore the true you?
Yeah, it takes as long as it takes. That's the most honest answer I could give you because people are coming in at different levels of self-awareness, self-love, you know. So in my work, I start off with 12 weeks of intense focus with women. And some women, they go and they just are in it 1,000% and miracles take place. So that question is almost like, well, how long does it take for a miracle to take place?
That's true.
How long does it take for you to believe that a miracle can take place, right?
Did you experience this in your life? How did you come about realizing that, hey, this lack of energy is changing who I am, or I'm not fully who I could be because of this?
Yes, I've had several cycles of being extremely burnt out, and one particular one was at the end of my medical school career. I was at the just the finish line, and being a single parent, being a homeschooling parent, I already just had so much being, you know, demanded of me, and being a full-time medical student. So I was very aware that I have all these things, the odds stacked against me, if you will. So literally what helped me get through that is the vision for myself. I knew that this was only for a particular amount of time and I would be able to move through and then care for myself. But as I was going through it, I, did the best I could with nutrition. I had my own Chinese medicine practitioner who I would go to. I would take walks in the park. I would journal. I would make sure I was doing the proper spiritual exercises in the morning. Everybody's situation is different. Some people have much greater demand than others. So for the greatest demand in my life, I had to have everything in place to make sure that I was being able to function and move forward. And thankfully I did. I graduated with honors, and
very
here
good.
I am today.
How have you mixed Chinese medicine with Western medicine, or how have you made that perfect mix?
Yes, so it's integrative medicine is the key, right? And so how I've mixed it is I understand the underlying theory of both Chinese medicine and Western medicine. So of course, doing your 3 meals a day and getting the right macronutrients and micronutrients is important. So that's using like the Western nutrition therapy. But then Chinese nutrition therapy, we're looking at the energetics of food, like what is the warming or cooling aspect? What part of the body does this food actually affect? Is it the upper, the middle, the lower? So it's an exciting time for medicine because we can use everything that served us well from ancient thought and wisdom and bring in our modern medicine to just offer a unique blend that's going to serve everyone.
How do you get women on board with the idea that there is a connection between mind and body?
Well, it's important when I'm asking into a person's emotional landscape. Like, well, how do you feel about yourself, right? And then when you ask how a person feels about themselves, how does that affect their energy? Like for you, are you feeling well today, right? And if a person says, no, I don't feel well, and then they're just starting to say, well, this is demanded of me, this is demanded of me, I can't do this, and then they start sounding like a victim. So when I empower them with things that they can do for themselves, they start to have possibility in their mind frame. And with possibility, we have the energy. Literally, energy comes from within with the idea of possibility, that I'm not a victim, I'm a victor. I can do something to shift my experience. So having a person understand that guilt, shame, grief, all of these things affect our nervous system, affecting how we feel, affecting our ability to sleep, to move. Grief is a big one. Grief actually in Chinese medicine, grief consumes the qi or the energy. So it literally like gobbles up our life force, because it's this downward feeling. Grief feels like a never-ending downward spiral. Of course that affects you physically and how you show up.
And there's no time limit on grief.
No.
It can last a long time, but we want to put a time limit on grief. Like if you have a relative or whoever who's grieving, well, by 6 or 7 months, you should be over this. And that's not how it works. Everybody's different. Everybody grieves differently. And being patient with those who are grieving, I think is key as well.
Yeah, just acknowledging that there has been loss. I mean, oftentimes people are not literally acknowledging. I have to share a personal story. I did not meet my grandparents, but my mother, she lost her mother and father a month apart of each other, 4 years before I was born, and she did not cry until I was born. She was the strong one. She was the one that everybody leaned on. She wasn't somehow allowed the space to grieve. Imagine what that did to her body, mind, spirit. So just being able to acknowledge I have lost because I've loved, right? And then being able to just feel it and allow it to flow through. When we resist, that's when we persist. So the ability to feel and cry, oftentimes people don't give themselves permission to cry and to feel for whatever reason. In my mother's case, she was a strong one. How many strong ones do you know that are not given the permission to express tears, express emotion? I have a client who I'm working with, a gem of a woman. She was the one who everybody came to, like the big mom of the family, couldn't say no to anybody. So she's working with me and getting her sleep in order, her nutrition. She would just, water will be flowing from her eyes during our coaching calls. She was like, Dr. Madea, I don't feel sad, but I just don't know where this water is coming from. I said, you're releasing. You have not allowed yourself to grieve. She experienced 4 deaths, actually, in 11 months. And again, the one who everybody came to for assistance and help, she just didn't have the space to be vulnerable and to grieve until she finally was just like, I need help. So she came
And what happened after she was able?
Oh, I just see her spark coming back online. You know, I just see the joy, and she just comes on the coaching call. She's like, I just feel good. I'm about to tear up just thinking about how she's one who just came in and quickly did a turnaround. I think because of so long, she's actually 67, so she's been living a life of just constantly overgiving, and she's a lover of people, of life. But she realized, wait, there's imbalance here. I'm not pouring into myself all the love I'm pouring into people. In that first assessment class, I say, give yourself permission to see what it feels like to pour into yourself just an ounce into yourself, what you've given to others. She's like, oh, I can do that? Yes, ma'am.
So in other words, you've seen a lot of results with this energy work.
Oh, yes. And it is rewarding. I feel like I have the best job on the planet because it is rewriting limiting beliefs. It's seeing the joy and the spark return to people's eyes. And this is how we create a healthier family, community, planet, is when people's spark, vitality, and joy return. And they're valuing themselves, loving themselves.
And we're going to give your information during the credits, but you work primarily virtually.
So with this particular work, yes, this is virtually. I do in-person work, but this is the focus, the core focus of my work today.
But I tell you, sometimes people find it so much easier with the whole virtual. That has just changed the landscape of so many things.
Yeah.
You can work with folks from California, you can work with folks here in Maryland or whatever. It just opens things up in a way that was never possible before.
It does. Because I can't fly to California every week.
Yes, and I think the bottom line that you have been seeing results.
Yes.
To me, that is the main thing. You have been a blessing to so many, and I'm so glad to have you here today.
Thank you.
We've been talking to Dr. Madea Allen, and she is an energy doctor, and she can get that energy. You can bring it out, you can lift it up.
Yes, yes.
And help you to grow in grace.
Yes.
Thank you for watching. You have been watching the Sisters for Fitness Wellness Show. I'm Stephanie Gaines-Bryant. Enjoy the rest of your day.